Skidding is fun. It's probably why you wanted to get into fixed gears in the first place, because you saw videos like this. Here's your guide to skidding on a fixed gear. What's up, I'm Zach Gallardo. Life is short, but don't make it shorter, so ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous. Be sure to subscribe to watch more fixed gear videos just like this one. We'll be talking about some gear today that'll help you skid. Feel free to check that out at any point during this video at the kit link at the top of the description. Although not entirely necessary, you can prepare your fixed gear to help you learn how to skid. The lower your gearing is, the easier it'll be to skid. It's possible to learn how to skid on whatever gear ratio you already have, but if you can, gear down. I recommend something with about 65 gear inches. If you don't know how many gear inches you have, you can check out the gear inch calculator in the description. Skid patches are the locations on your rear tire that your gearing allows you to perform a skid. This bike has lots of skid patches and has an even wear on the tire. You can find out how many skid patches you have by watching my skid patch video at the end of this one. Skidding will burn through your tires like nothing else. More skid patches will extend the life of your rear tire, so you can save money in the long run and skid for longer. Because of the magic of math, a 19-tooth cog will almost always give you 19 whole skid patches regardless of your chainring, which is probably more skid patches than you already have. A 19-tooth cog is also likely to be a lower gearing than you have, which will make it easier for you to skid. So in all city make smooth running affordable cogs, you can find them at the kit link at the top of the description. And it's good to have a 19-tooth cog on hand since they're good for hill climbing and hill bombing for your sick edit. Skidding will burn through your tires fast. Get a bunch of cheap tires because you will be trashing them. You can nicely ask a bike shop if they have some tires that they're just going to throw out. If they're really nice, they'll give them to you for free. If after you learn how to skid, you want more durable tires so you can continue skidding, I recommend getting at least a 28C or bigger Vittoria the Rando. Get the Vittoria Rando. This is what I used when I skidded regularly, and after squeezing every last ounce of life from it and wearing down all of the rubber, it lasted for 6 whole months. On top of that, I only got one flat with this tire, and it was a pretty minor one from a Staple. Other popular skidding tires are the Freedom Thick Slicks and the Soma Everwears. I personally don't have any experience with them, but a lot of people skid with them and they're pretty happy with it. Foot retention is almost necessary for skidding. It's possible to learn without foot retention, but I can't even skid without foot retention. If you want to learn fast, foot retention will help you get there. Clipless is okay, but there is a chance that you will accidentally unclip, which is dangerous to say the least. That's actually why I'm riding my brother's bike for this video. Don't worry, I still have Ricky. I personally think toe clips and straps are the most secure for skidding since you can't accidentally unclip unless you're a boss and you snap a toe clip. Take off your front basket if you have one because your knee could hit it and you could lose control and eat it, which is a bad time. These are some tips for your bike to keep in mind, but don't stress if you don't have the ideal gear. As long as you have the burning desire to learn how to skid for some reason, you can skid. This stuff just helps learning and makes it easier, but it isn't 100% necessary. To start learning how to skid, you're going to want to find a good location. That means somewhere where cars don't usually come, somewhere where you can fall safely that has lots of space for you to ride around, somewhere that's flat, and as a bonus to help you skid, if the pavement is wet, that helps. Empty parking lots work great for learning how to skid. Usually school or government parking lots on the weekend are pretty empty. To skid, ride around at a moderate speed, say 13 miles per hour or 20 kilometers per hour. If you're not going fast enough, you'll end up stopping, and we don't want to stop. Right before the actual skid, there's the setup. The easiest setup is the balls to stem method where, as you can clearly see, the rider's testicles, in most cases, are put towards the stem. This puts more of the rider's weight on the front wheel, thus applying less downward force on the rear wheel, making it easier to lock the rear wheel with backwards pedaling force, and allowing the rider to skid for a longer distance. Practice pedaling around with the balls to stem method because it can feel a little bit sketchy when you're trying it for the first time. When you're practicing, be sure to commit 100% when you get into that position over your front wheel, because otherwise it's just going to be like some awkwardly pedaling and you're not going to be able to skid. Once getting your weight over your front wheel becomes comfortable, then you can move on to the next step. To perform a skid, you have to lock up your rear wheel by pulling up on your forward pedal and pushing down on your rear pedal. There's two main styles to skidding. The first method is what I'll call the pull method. For the pull method, position your dominant foot forward with your cranks close to parallel with the ground. Tighten up your core and pull up on your front pedal with a lot of force and push down on your rear pedal. You can press your legs against the top tube for more leverage. About 75% of my skidding force comes from pulling up with my dominant front pedal, while about 25% comes from pushing down on the rear pedal. Although I use this method, it's a bit sketchier than the second method. Because you're pulling up with so much force on the front pedal, if you're on clipless, it's possible to accidentally unclip, and that's actually why I don't skid. The second method is what I'll call the push method. And like the name says, most of the skidding force comes from pushing down on the rear pedal with your dominant foot. With this method, have your dominant foot around parallel in the rear and push down with all your might. Pulling up on the front pedal a little bit will help you get to a skid. Even though I don't do this method, I think that this is the better one for skidding. Because you're pushing down on the pedal, you'll be less likely to break a toe clip or accidentally unclip. And most importantly, the push method allows you to do sick bar skids once you get good. And if you don't have foot retention, you could entirely perform a skid just by pushing down with your dominant foot. I recommend trying to learn the push method over the pull method, but for a lot of riders, one will feel more natural than the other. Of course, you need to practice, practice, and practice. Everybody learns at different rates, and don't feel discouraged if you feel like you're not making any progress. For me, there was a point where I couldn't lock the rear wheel no matter how hard I tried, and then I hit the tipping point. Soon after that, I was whipping out skids at every stop like a true Fixie foo. And with enough practice, skidding can become second nature to you. So you can be on your way to making your first sick fixed gear edit. Is an inefficient way of stopping. Skidding will ruin your tires at a faster rate and will never be as effective as a front brake. On paper, skidding makes very little sense, but is a fun skill to have in your repertoire to fix your tomfoolery. Please consult your wallet and your conscience before performing regular skids. Yeah. Feel free to check out the parts that I recommended in this video that can help you learn how to skid faster. At the kit link at the top of the description. Not skid faster, but make the process of learning faster. Fixie family shoutouts to Mikey Sincox, Albert Wu, Marek Dravecky, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Robert Terpstra, Blue Tick Hound, Dorella01, Evil Ernie, Mark Vandeventer, and Jeziel for supporting the channel through Patreon and making these Fixie videos possible. Don't watch this upcoming video if you haven't ridden your bike yet today. Instead, ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous.